Hey, it's Neve and welcome to the third video in the How to Design or Tweak an Online Business to Be Totally True to You video series. Today, we're jumping into one of the juiciest topics. It might be the topic that you've been waiting for. We're going to talk about marketing. You know, when most people think about having an online business, they mostly just think about marketing. People know that they need to have an income stream and then they go, how am I going to market it? Those are the two kind of concerns someone generally has when they're thinking about having an online business. So they don't even know that you also need to have your core message, you also need to have your ideal audience, and you need to have that core central hub of you being aligned with yourself. But when you have those other things, marketing sort of follows on from what you've already built and created. So marketing really, in the context we're going to talk about it, is how do you connect your core message with your ideal audience. So this is the people who want to hear, who are looking for the message that you have to share. How do you help those two things find each other? Okay, that's what marketing is all about. So first, let's look at how do most people approach marketing. Most marketing is approached from an incredibly logical standpoint. And logic will tell you that, you need to get out there and be everywhere. You need to do everything. You need to find everyone. You just need to hustle, hustle, hustle. And that's what's going to create success for you. And so people feel like they have to jump on the next new thing or the new hot tactic before it goes old. Everyone's jumping on Periscope. You feel you have to jump on Periscope. Everyone's jumping on Instagram or Pinterest. You feel like you have to be on Instagram or Pinterest. And this can get, more and more and more weighty as there's more possibilities, more ways to connect with people. Yeah, you start to feel like you really have to be everywhere. Like you have to have a Twitter account, you have to be on Facebook, you have to have a blog, you have to have a YouTube channel, you have to do paid ads, you have to do, yada, 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 the list goes on. And it's all coming from a very logical view, so I know I've been in that experience where I've heard someone say, well, I made X amount of money, maybe I made 100 grand and I did it all from using just Facebook. And I'd go, haha, I'm going to be smart about this. She only used Facebook, so I'm going to use Facebook plus Twitter, which means that I'll make 200 grand, and while that sounds logical, that's not actually what happens. So instead of kind of having this approach of you must do everything, I want to look at how you can actually have an impact and stay really aligned. Because when you're being buffeted about by the hot new tactics, by the latest, greatest thing, by the noise on the internet, it can be hard to really stay steady and stay aligned with you, with your core message and what you want to represent. And what's a better way to approach your marketing? It's choosing one place and allowing that to become your core strategy. And everything you do revolves around using that one core strategy. Now, why is that better? Well, there's a lot of reasons, but one of my favorites is that it allows you to become more visible to your audience. So your audience will see you over and over, they'll see you more repeatedly, and they'll begin to really get you, to understand what you're about and what your message really is. It's kind of like if you're a fish swimming in the ocean, the giant ocean of the internet. You might spot another fish and they might go, oh, that's a pretty fish. And then you swim on and then they never see you again. But if you choose one place to be and you're really there and that's where your energy and your efforts go, it's kind of like you've moved to a small pond. Whereas you circle around, other fish will spot you and they'll go, wow, look at that fish. That fish is shiny. That fish has beautiful scales, or whatever it is. Because you're embodying yourself, you actually start to really stand out to people. They start to really hear the authenticity in your message, and helpfully because they hear it over and over again by being in one place. Now, apart from them and helping your audience to get to know you better, it helps you. It kind of takes all the energy and the effort that you're spreading out everywhere and concentrates it into one small area. Now, you probably know what happens if you take a magnifying glass, some sunlight, and maybe a dry leaf. you can take the sunlight that's already kind of spreading itself everywhere. You can take that same amount of sunlight, run it through a magnifying glass that focuses it onto one point, and that same amount of energy that would have just spread out all over the place can light a fire. And that's the same impact that you can have. You can have so much more impact when you pull all your energy together into one place. And the final reason that this works so much better than the other approach is that the way the internet works, almost every place that you could sort of plant a flag and choose to grow your business actually reward you for spending time there. So Facebook has famous algorithms like the Edge Rank, I think it's called. So Facebook has algorithms that reward you for, having an active and engaged friends list. YouTube has algorithms that the more people who see your videos, the more people get exposed to your videos. So all of the social sites, at least, absolutely work that way because they want to give their audience a great experience. So as they see you starting to give your audience a good experience, that they keep seeing you, they keep interacting with you, they keep coming back to where you are, as that grows, they sort of help you out and you get this extra boost. It really does all come back to energy. When you're spreading yourself out there, you're kind of leaving little seeds of your own energy everywhere. But when you pull it all back and funnel it all into one place, you can have this maximum impact where then you begin to just really be yourself. You're really, really fully aligned in one place, and you start to almost become like a gravitational force where you begin to pull your ideal audience to you. At first it takes a little while to figure out your space, to kind of get your groove. But once you do, you can have a really maximum impact by focusing on one place. Now, this doesn't mean that you're stuck there. This doesn't mean that you pick one place and that's it. That's where you live for the rest of your life. I've gone through some transformations in my business in where I was focused. And I'm going to share with you in a little bit how I plan my daily marketing strategy. But it's really all about what's going to line up to you. And that brings us into how do you choose? How do you choose the place to start? Now, when it comes to how to actually choose, there's two aspects that are important. So the first part is the audience. They have to be there wherever it is that you choose. So, think about places where they are. Where do they hang out? Where do they spend time? Where do they go to truly connect with other people? So you don't want to necessarily connect to them when they're in an other sort of mode, like they might be in business mode, or if you wanted to connect to artists, you might not want to connect to them on LinkedIn when they're kind of going to build their professional connections. You might want to connect to them when they're on Facebook or when they're on Pinterest or somewhere where they go to really let that expressive side come out. So you want to think about connecting to the side of them that's the one you want to talk to. This is really, it's funny with the audience because a lot of people choose their place entirely based on audience, and that is really not what you want to do. You want to pick a place that's right for you, a place that's really, really right for you, and the audience only comes into it to make sure that they are there, that is a place that you can connect to them. Really, when you think about it, like the business wheel is great and it's important, but once you design it, then your daily effort, your daily work, what you do on a day-to-day basis comes down to where you're marketing. So this is the piece that really has to be all about you. So there's a few kind of aspects to look at to make sure you pick a place that's really you. So one is your talents. You want to kind of think about what comes really naturally to you. So for example, for me, typing. Writing comes really, really naturally to me. So for me, I think about sites that are what are sites that use more writing and less visual stuff, because I'm not really, I'm kind of not good at visual stuff. And then the second thing you want to think about is your temperament. And temperament is a funny one because a lot of people fight their natural temperament and they just go, well, what's wrong with me that I can't be like X, Y, and Z person over there? But when you start to really understand and come into harmony with your temperament, you become really powerful because you can just work with it, so acknowledge who you are, so for example, you might be an introvert or an extrovert, and these, get a lot of attention. Particularly introverts get a lot of attention these days, but introverts are basically people who, they lose energy from being around other people, so they have to go be by themselves to regain it. If you're an extrovert, you gain energy from being around other people. So for example, I'm an introvert, so I don't want to take on a strategy that involves me, having to talk to people for a lot of the day. That's draining to me. I want to choose strategies that sort of allow me to be by myself, but still create awesome connections. So I wouldn't start doing, Facebook chatting. Or actually, one of the original things that I did was I ran a Facebook group. And that was just really draining for me. So now instead I'm in a couple Facebook groups where I can sort of pop in, make connections, but I'm not sort of in charge of the whole thing. So I don't feel like I have to spend a lot of time there. So that's sort of honoring my inner introvert. You also want to sort of think about your work style. Are you a sort of daily, do daily consistent work, or are you kind of go for a big push and then relax, and go for a big push and then relax? You really want to think about how would you really like to be in your business on a long term, and what kind of site or place kind of really matches up to that. Like, so if you're a big push and then relax person, you might want to do, list building, because then you could load up a whole, like put in a bunch of intensive work and load up a whole bunch of emails into your autoresponder, and then sort of relax and let people go through them. If you're sort of more of a daily person, it makes more sense to pick maybe social media, or somewhere where you can put in that daily time where you go and you do a couple things, but you don't have to like be there 24 hours a day. So this is really kind of take a little bit of time to really say, okay, what am I sort of naturally inclined to do? Like, if you just took internet marketing out of it, how do you spend your time on the internet? Where do you spend your time? Because that's a really, really great place to start. And you're not kind of going way outside who you want to be. And then also you want to consider your circumstances. So this is, what can you invest in this? What do you have a surplus of that you can spend on your marketing? So this is, can you invest time? If you have a lot of time, then, social media is a great place to go. Can you invest money? If you have a lot of money and not a lot of time, then maybe you want to go into something more paid. This is really being honest with yourself and saying, what can I do in the context of where I'm at? Like, for example, if you didn't have a laptop, that's a circumstance. Say you don't have a computer, but you do have a smartphone. Okay, well, what kind of strategy can you pick where a smartphone is all you need? So maybe you don't want to pick, something on a website that's not mobile friendly. Maybe instead you want to pick a website that has a cool app that makes it really easy to do on your phone. So this is really taking in all aspects of where you're at right now. Because remember that this isn't the be all end all. You don't have to stay in this strategy forever, but it's about picking what's really going to work for you right now. So thinking about who you are, what comes easily to you, what feels like it would be fun and easy and relaxed, and then what suits, how you naturally are inclined to work. How would you spend your time if there wasn't a business attached to it, if you weren't trying to sort of go out there and make money? What sort of effort do you like to put in? So really just be honest with yourself. And in this point, you want to continually ask your core self, like continually, continue to say, okay, does this feel right? Does this feel right? Because even when you choose your place, there's different approaches that you can take to it. For example, if you choose Facebook, there's, the approach where you can kind of do Facebook chatting. Loads of people do that, where they're, chatting to people and getting to know them through the messaging system. I don't do that. That's just totally not me. But I still use Facebook as my main strategy. You could have your own group that you run in Facebook. You could be, do what I do. What I do is actually focus on the main place in Facebook that I focus on is my profile, is my actual Facebook profile. So it's funny because within your site that you pick, you might even need to narrow down further to what am I going to focus on within here. So again, if it's Facebook, you could focus on a particular group. You could focus on driving people to messaging you back and forth, or you could focus on, having everyone come to be your friend, everyone come to your profile to be your friend. So whatever site you're on, kind of look at, do you need to narrow in yet further so that you're not scattering all over the site? You really want to focus on what's my one little area where I can just really be me and totally focus. Now, once you've chosen your place, the place where you're going to be that shiny fish in a small pond, then you begin to focus on the daily tasks that you need to take in order to connect your ideal audience with your core message. And that usually comes down to, on the site that you're going to be on or the place that you're going to be, is having one core objective, okay? And that core objective is always going to be to create really solid connections every day. Now, when you're starting, you're probably going to have to be the one initiating a lot of the first connections. Over time, you might begin to establish yourself and have more people reaching out to you. But as long as you've chosen the right place, the place that's really you, this will be fun. And one thing to look out for is if it feels uncomfortable, that's fine. A lot of times when we're doing something new, it's uncomfortable because it's outside of our comfort zone. But there's a difference between uncomfortable and out of alignment. I'm not suggesting that we should all just feel comfortable 100% of the time. You're going to have to stretch in order to grow and in order to really get out there and start really fulfilling your potential. Part of fulfilling your potential is being challenged. So sometimes it's going to be uncomfortable. But there's a difference between uncomfortable and out of alignment, and you know how to find it. You ask your core self, is this strategy in alignment with my destiny? You ask that question and you'll get a yes or a no. Sometimes you're going to get a yes, it's in alignment, and you'll go, oh no, now I have to do this uncomfortable thing. But it's really all part of the process. And actually, I promise you, it's very, very fulfilling. As long as it's in alignment, you're going to really enjoy it. Now, here's what every daily plan should include. The first one is a way to make new connections, get new eyeballs looking at your stuff, get new people sending you friend requests, get new people signing up on your list, new people every day, kind of coming and getting to know you and getting to hear your message. Your plan should include being real. It's like that daily reminder that this is about being a real person. That's what people want today. They don't want to interact with companies, and they don't want to interact with, extreme professionals. They want to interact with other humans. This is like really human to human business. That's something I heard the other day. I thought that was great. Instead of business to business or business to customer, B2B, B2C, it's H to H, human to human. So your plan should be, a way to make new connections, a way to just show people that you're real, a way to build a relationship with the existing connections. So you don't just throw people onto your list and then ignore them. You want to continue to talk to them and get to know them. You want to have a message delivery medium. Now, this can be more than one, but usually it's easier to start with one. This is, how are people going to hear your message? So this depends on where you are and where you're building these connections. But it could be through emails. You could be kind of emailing them daily, sharing new advice. It can be blog posts. So even if you're on Facebook or something, you could be putting up blog posts that share your message. It can be videos, it can be status updates, it can be one-to-one chats, it can be pictures, it can really be anything. The real key to this is that your message has to be able to stand on its own, so this is, you're going to be saying similar things every day. You're going to be continuing to be like, hey, this is what I'm about. This is another way to look at it. This is another way to look at it, and over time, you're going to really sort of hone in your message and get really good at it, but it needs to stand on its own, as in, someone shouldn't have to buy from you in order to get value from your message. Like, your message shouldn't be, come buy my thing or you're going to be miserable. Like, it should be, something about, how great life can be, or how people can fulfill their potential. Whatever, your message is yours. So I don't want to go putting stuff into your head about what your message should be, but just that it needs to be able to be powerful enough to stand on its own, that people get something from it, whether or not they choose to go and buy something from you. But the message is the great place where you can then bridge back to the income stream. Remember, the message is all about connecting your ideal audience with your income stream. Now, it's really important to remember to do this only in appropriate places. And I find online appropriate places to share a link, or to share something that, actually promotes something of yours. Appropriate almost always means only on your own turf. So if you're on Facebook and somebody, someone might be able to see a video, like I put videos almost every day. So on Facebook, they can see a video which is on my wall. It has a link to my blog, and on my blog, they can absolutely, find ways to pay me for stuff. But the income stream isn't, me going out and putting it up in groups. It isn't me putting it in one-to-one chats with people unless they ask. That's on someone else's turf. You're not putting your links on someone else's wall, someone else's group, someone else's message system. This is really all about letting them follow the breadcrumb trail that you leave by continually sharing your message, and then having a way for them to come and find more about you, about who you are, and actually start to buy stuff from you. So whatever your income stream is, that's how it fits in. Your message creates a bridge to the income stream, and you can absolutely mention it in your message. You can say, hey, click on my link if you want to learn more about this. Click on my link if you want to see what I do. Click on my link if you want to set up a one-to-one. Whatever it is that you're doing, that's the appropriate place to put the income stream in. And when you're doing it that way, I promise you, you will feel 100% better. Everyone always feels icky when they're doing stuff that, is icky, when they're doing stuff that doesn't align to them. So when you do it this way, you get to feel good because you're in a place that you enjoy. You're spending time connecting to people that you want to connect with. Why? Because you picked the audience that you want to interact with yesterday. Okay, you're being real. You're being a genuine person. You're sharing a message that you and your core believe in. And via that message, you can have a little link that lets people go and see what you're about, buy from you, buy a course, go to your, go to your blog, whatever it is, wherever it is that you are sort of allowing them to pay you for more or whatever. That's really the structure that you want. And if you have this structure, I promise you, it's going to be far more in alignment. Why? Because you've chosen the place. You've chosen the place you want to be. You've chosen the audience. You've chosen the message. You've chosen the income stream. All of it has lined up to your core. So what does that spell? You having a good time. You feeling like you. You not bending yourself to match someone else. Because you checked all this. You went through it all. Your core is in a line. You're in a line. And you can just plow forward. So in order to sort of take this out of idea space and put it into reality for you, I want to, just give you a couple of examples. And a great example to start with is my own. As I've told you, my current strategy, the one that I focus utterly on, is growing my Facebook profile. So what I do is focus every day on creating friend connections and continuing to create firm connections with the friends that I already have. So my daily plan looks like this. I usually do roughly one video a day. I like video because I found that is a happy medium to carry my message. I get to express myself. I get to also create connection at the same time. So it's great. So my video usually has a link to my blog, which continues to deliver on my message and also builds bridges to income streams that I have. Right? So that's how my message gets delivered. But I'm also then spending time in about 3 different groups to grow new connections. These are groups of people that are exactly my audience, the people I want to talk to, the people I want to hear from, the people I want to connect to. So I'm making these really fulfilling relationships, and I'm only adding maybe 3 to 4 new friends a day, sometimes I'm not even doing that. Sometimes I'm just spending a lot of time continuing to interact with the existing friends that I have. On my wall, I post only what's utterly me and totally in alignment with me. I post a lot of stuff about my kids. I post about my day. I don't really complain on there because it's not the place for that, I'm really conscious that this is an area where I want to represent myself, and I want to represent myself as utterly Neve. So I have my picture. When I look at my profile picture of right now, it's me surrounded in this green background, and it just feels so me. And my cover photo is me and my kids with a rainbow, and again, it feels so me. So what you want to do is, like, whatever space is representing you, whatever place you are, is always make sure that it feels like you when you look at it. It's not who you're trying to be, it's not who you're trying to portray, it's you. So I send emails often with a link back to those videos on my personal profile. So when I send out an email to my email list, which I've kind of grown over the years by a couple of, when I was doing other strategies, really. But it's like, okay, well, I have this email list. I don't want to also be, focusing on growing this list and establishing this list. I don't want to be focusing on multiple things, but how about I take that and then plug it back into my Facebook personal profile? And then also my blog has loads of links back to Facebook as well. So every task that I do in my day supports my main objective, which is to create awesome relationships on Facebook and provide opportunities for those who want to follow it to go ahead and follow my message path all the way through to my income streams. So as people get to know me, they get to see what I'm about, they get to hear my message, which is all about connecting to yourself and all about using who you are to create lucrative and positive income streams. Now let's look at a couple of those examples that we were talking about yesterday. So for example, our skincare person might spend time on a forum for new entrepreneurs, and she might give confidence tips. So she might do stuff like how to dress confidently in your new job, how to answer interview questions. So everything can tie back to gaining confidence, and it could be, really, that message of having confidence in your job, and continually then linking back to having great skin. The landscape gardener might choose Pinterest as his main source of traffic, and he could pin pictures of temporary garden structures. He could talk about what he's done for people. He can continue to have messages like, hey, what to do if you have a landlord. He can continuously link back to his ebook or a way for people to buy his services. So then what he's doing on a daily basis is spending time growing his following and interacting with others on Pinterest, so that over time he starts to really create a following there of people who really love beautiful garden structures and are more likely to want to buy from him. Now, our artist example, they might grow their Facebook page, so they might have be in Facebook groups that are related to Etsy people, so they can get to know other artists through Facebook groups, and then over time their message of, hey, you can be artistic and still be organized and still, still be really productive. They can deliver that on their Facebook page over time. So, it doesn't have to be like, I'm an artist, so I have to be on Pinterest or I have to be on Instagram or some kind of visual thing. That is not the case. It's wherever you want to be, and then finding out how and where your audience hangs out in that space. So you pick your place first, get to know it, you get to figure out what your main objective is there, and then make sure that every task that you do is helping to obtain your main objective and have a message delivery medium so that these people can, over time, get to know you, get to know your message, and be able to, at any point, follow the bridges back to your income stream. And it's that simple. And when you take this approach to marketing, I promise you, it'll feel more like you. It won't feel off. It'll feel great. You'll feel like you're contributing to the world, and it'll be so, so much more fulfilling. And that's how you do marketing. So what next? What do you do in order to actually implement the things that we've been talking about over the last few days? The first thing you want to do is continue your daily connection practice. Everything comes out of your connection between your logical self and your core self. When you have that connection established, when you have those two sides talking to each other, magic is going to happen. Next, you want to start to map out and design your complete business wheel. You want to make sure first that you have an income stream ready to go. So not just a sort of vague idea of something you could create an income from. You want to get it ready to go to the point where there's a buy button ready for someone to press. Once you have that income stream there, or even before you fully set it up, check alignment. Is this a big yes to destiny or no, from your core self? Then you want to clarify your audience. This is who you want to work with, who you want to connect with, who you want to be spending time with and talking to on a daily basis. And again, check the alignment. Then you create your core message. Remember, your core message is connecting your audience with the income stream. It's what do you want to say? What do you want to do? How do you want to help people in the world? Get that core message straight, and then check the alignment. And finally, you want to pick your core strategy. You want to pick a strategy of one place where you can be you, that suits your talents, your temperament, and your circumstances, and that you're going to have a great time spending time there. Create a daily plan that includes getting to know other people, creating new connections, establishing the relationship with existing connections, having your message, be there through some medium, either image, videos, whatever, somehow that they can connect to your message, which will then bridge back to your income stream. And check the alignment on every part of it. As long as you continue to check the alignment, you're going to have a great time. Now, what we've been able to do here in this video series is to help you create a basic structure for you to design or tweak an online business to be totally true to you. And it's been an absolute honor to do this with you. But we've only really just been able to scratch the surface of how to really establish that connection with yourself, how to design that business wheel that's utterly, completely you, and then step forward into lucrative and fulfilling work for yourself. My aim here is to help you deep dive, to help you break that cycle and begin to tap into your true potential. I want you to go from saying, I know there must be more than this, to I am me. I'm doing my fulfilling work and I'm starting to truly live my dreams. So in light of that, I want to extend to you an invitation to join me on the Design Your Authentic Living 12-week intensive. To the right side of this video, you'll see your special invitation link. Click that and you can learn all about the intensive. I cannot wait to see you there.